Hello, and welcome to Local Legacies, the show where we go behind the scenes with enterprising individuals who are striving for the best in their business, family, community, and themselves. I'm your host, Tim Lanza, and without further ado, here's this week's guest. Alrighty, today in the studio we have Sara Allen of Allen Landscaping. How you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Thanks for joining me. I know
Thank you.
Seems to always rain on days that I have podcasts.
Good.
I don't know what it is.
It's easier to sit inside when it's raining. Right?
Yeah, exactly. So it works out well. So we can start out, I guess, tell me or tell the listeners a little bit about your business, what you do, just in general.
So my business started out named Sara Allen Design, and I started as just a landscape designer, and I did events and wedding flowers, so like floral arrangements. And then throughout the years, it evolved to a full-scale landscape company. I still do the wedding flowers and event flowers, so I still have, Sara Allen Design for that. And I've just rebranded the rest of my business to Allen Landscapes, so that would be more, a certain name, look, whatever, for all of the landscaping that we do. So it's just a regular, I call it, fine gardening, estate maintenance. That's mostly what I do. But plantings, the regular stuff.
Okay, so I guess first of all, size-wise of your company, how big are you guys?
Yeah, we're like 5 employees. 1 crew, 2 crews in the summer. Pretty small. I like it small though because I like to be able to manage all of it.
So when you've got like the plantings and the estate maintenance side of things and then the wedding arrangements, like you're doing all of it.
I'm doing a lot of it. I do have, it's hard to find helpers that are interested in this field for long haulers. It's not really a thing, right? So people are like in college and they want a summer job, or they're like want to, a bounce between job, like before they get their actual career. So I do a lot of it, but hopefully I have good people helping me every year, but it's not always easy to find those people.
And do you do anything in the winter? Do you do snow removal, basically?
No, no plowing. I'm not interested in that. I'm not really, if I had to, I would, but I tend to make enough that I kind of like just bank it and, chill for the winter. And I don't like snow plowing. I'm not into it. Like, it's not creative. It's not my thing. So like, why do it unless I'm broke, right?
Right.
So no, I never have done that. I've never had to. I do some events in the winter with like the flowers and things like that. But, hopefully I'll make enough each year that I can chill.
Right.
And that's my goal, right? And I love my winter.
And what does the flower side of the business look like as far as arrangements and events and stuff?
Yeah, so I'm, pre-COVID, I was super busy with that. And I do all that stuff at night usually. When I have a good crew, sometimes I can do it during the day when I have a crew that can handle life on their own. But a lot of times I don't. So I do that stuff at night. I'll have an event on the weekend, 1, 2 weddings on a weekend, deliver that stuff. And it's good extra money. It's not the bread and butter of my business, but I like doing it because it's different. I'm pretty busy with it until COVID happened. And then I would say like, not 50-50, but like in the busy wedding months, I would have one every weekend. But then COVID, I had 3 last year. So
yeah,
that was
that's
like
tough.
whatever.
Kind of killed, obviously, the event.
Yeah.
Any sort of
pretty
event
much.
type businesses.
Even this year, nobody has really, I think I have 5 because no one has, like everyone's scared to make a plan that's going to cost them a lot of money.
Right, of course.
So like, I don't want to do this unless for sure. So that was kind of a bummer, but I think I'll be back up in 2021, like 2022 weddings.
I think people, once we get to whatever, there's a lot of stuff tossed around, but whether it's like a level of vaccination or just a level of people
Right.
are done with, they're going to do what they want to do, it's going to swing way back the other way.
Right. And I've already
seen
seen that with like inquiries.
Okay. Yeah, exactly.
As soon as they raised the number to 150 people outside, I had like 50 emails that week of girls like waiting in the wings to like, oh, I'm going to book my wedding now or whatever, because they couldn't all last year. So that was unusual.
Well, like, and if it's personally, if it was my wedding or like anyone's wedding, I'm sure. And it's like, well, we got to cut it off,
right.
3/4 of the guests. It's like, well, then we'll just hold off.
It's not worth it. Right. So most of them did just hold off, except for a few people that had like a backyard thing or like an illegally type thing.
Right.
Whatever.
So what was your, I guess, starting out point? What was your journey into this? How'd you get involved? How'd you get interested?
Sort of like always what I've done my whole life. I worked on a farm growing up. Like, I think maybe I was 12 when I started working there, and I worked on the farm, like picking corn and doing hay and running a tractor, and like it was summertime work, and I really liked being outside. And then I worked on the farm stand, and I like sold flowers there, and I like that. So I was like, this is my vibe. Like, I just like being outside. I love plants. And even when I was in high school, like working at the farm, I just always I'd always tell my boss, like, oh, can we get in like these cut flowers? Like, I think we could sell these on Fridays to like guys or whatever. And he's like, yeah, you can do whatever you want, So I like get a piece of it like that. And I'm like, oh, I made like a good money on that or whatever. So like I kind of started like that. And I was gonna, I went to college for horticulture because my mother made me go to college, but I didn't want to. Because I thought, what do I need to go to college for?
It's a common story.
It's pretty like stupid. It's a trade, right? But I actually learned like so much because I went to trade college. So that like, I'm so glad I did go, because it wasn't like bullshit waste of time. It was like actual classes that really helped me and actually, I'd never planned to be a landscaper. I just wanted to do like the flower thing, like have a flower shop and like sell plants and whatever. And I got an internship at a landscape company when I was in college, because we had to do an internship, and that was like the only one I found that was like close and whatever. It was a big landscape company that did like amazing jobs, like $500,000 landscapes, like blew me away stuff I had never seen like in real life in Massachusetts, like real towns I lived close to, and I was like, holy shit, these people are like, this is legit. It's not like putting in 3 plants at someone's house, right?
You're not just like mowing lawns with a push mower.
Right. And so I was like, this is awesome. So I totally changed my whole vein of what I wanted to do based on that internship, because it was so great. And I was like, there's money to make in this. There's people that spend a lot of money on this. And it's awesome to be outside and like just plant plants and stuff. It's hard, but it's awesome. Like, could be an office or I could do this.
Right. And you kind of want to keep moving. I'm the same way. It's like I did the office thing for a while, and it's like, this is not working for me. I got to do something.
I love it. I love to be outside, and just every day's different. You can have the radio going. It's like, I don't even feel like an adult. And I'm 44. It's like, I get this life. This is my life. Like, it's pretty good. Except for the stress of like business stuff. But like besides that, like the days are good.
So it sounds like early on you kind of had the entrepreneurial bug, if you're selling flowers or like, hey, we could add this to the business, or I see a path here.
Right.
Then,
and I was like that.
And then you went into like forced, which I think a lot of, I wouldn't say I was like fully forced, but there was no other option but I go to college.
Right.
So, it was like figure out what you want to do and do it. And I started, and then you kind of opened up, which is great. Same thing happened to me. It's like you open up all these opportunities, or you see different parts of, I don't even want to say the world, but like different parts of the same state, like you said, that are totally different than what you're exposed to.
Right.
And then where do things go, after this internship?
Yeah, so I worked at that landscaping company till I was 26 years old. I stayed there the whole time. He offered me a job afterwards after I got out of college, and I was like, definitely. And, I didn't know how much I would like that. My boss was kind of a dick most of the time, but he was a really good landscaper, and he taught everyone the right way to do it. And sometimes it was the harder way, or we were like fuck you, man. But I learned the best way to do stuff, and I appreciate it now that I'm the boss. And I try to I tell that guy when I see him now, I'm like, dude, I'm you now, and I get it. And back then, I wanted to kill you, but like, I want my people to do the stuff the same way because I know why you made us do it that way.
That's exactly how my father is. And so I got that early on, growing up fooling around with cars.
Right.
But then once I started working with him for real, it's
Right.
like I had things that would happen and I'd go to him and be like, what should I do? And he'd just look at me and not say anything. And I'm like, I know.
Right.
And I'd go back and redo the whole thing because it's like, there's only one way to do it.
There's
the
only
right
one
way.
right way. Right. And it's not the easy way, usually.
No, almost never.
And that's what it was hard learning from my prior boss was like, it's usually the harder way is the right way. And that's why people cut corners. And if you cut corners, you're not going to have a good reputation. And eventually you're not going to get where you want to go, So, like, I'm glad I worked there for so long. And, honestly, I probably would have stayed working there because I was making pretty good money for a landscaper. And I didn't care. So, but I got pregnant, like, unexpectedly because I wasn't really like I was married, so it wasn't a big deal, but I wasn't really like a mom type. I wasn't a kid person. Like, I'm a worker. I worked like 6 a.m. to like 5 a lot of the time. So it was like, how the hell would I ever be a mom with that schedule? Like, that was never even in my like brain, but like, when you get pregnant, all of a sudden you're like, oh, well, maybe like I'm an adult. Like, I'm 26. I'm not like 18. Like, I should probably have this child, right? Like, if I want a family someday, I should probably do this. So I was like, you know what? It's probably like my path. So I was like happy about it. And then I was actually really happy about it. I was like, I thought I was just going to go back to work and like have the baby, whatever. And I was lucky I was having her in December. So that was perfect because I get like the whole winter off, right? So I'm like, perfect, 3 months. I'll just, do whatever people do, send her to daycare, go back, be a landscaper, and my life will just continue like that. But it didn't work that way because I didn't want to do that. Like, after I had a baby, I was like, oh shit, like, I really love this person. Like, this little person is like something I never thought I would be into. And I was so into it. And I was like, there's no way I can have that same job and spend all those hours, 2 hours in the car, getting there, like, 8, 9, 10 hours working. Like, there's no way I'm going to leave this person. I'm the mom, right? It's different, like, if you're, I shouldn't really say it like this, but it's not different if you're the dad, but I think it is, so.
It's a different connection, I think.
Yeah, and so, like, all the things. So I was just like, fuck it, I'm going to stay home and figure it out. So that's what I did. And that's when I started my business of just, like, doing wedding flowers on the side. And then all the landscapers I knew that whatever, I would do designs for them. I'm like, listen, I'm not working, so. A lot of like landscapers, they don't care about the plants. They don't really know about the plants. Like, they just want to bang it in and, like, be done with it. And I'm not like that. So, they'd be happy to have someone else come in and, like, make it nice, right?
So just for, I guess, people listening, when you're saying you're doing the design, what does that consist of? You're like laying out beds and saying this plant goes here, this plant goes here.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the project. If it's a big project, I mean, sometimes it's drainage and hardscape and, blueprints and big deal stuff. And I hate doing that stuff, but I can do it. I hate it because I feel like it's already in my mind and it's like so tedious, like, to put it onto a computer or put it on paper. It's like, it's already in my mind. I don't need this. But most of the time it's like just doing sketches, planting the plants, putting where the plants are, putting where the walkways are, making a plant list, sizes, prices, whatever.
Well, it's easier when you're doing your own job and it's like just kind of unfolds as you're doing it. But if you got to just like hand it off to someone else.
Right.
If
you're doing it for another landscaper, it has to be pretty to scale and things like that. So it is a pain. It's not my favorite, like the drawing, and it's just time consuming, little tedious stuff I don't like, but it makes money. So,
and easier to do at home if you got little kids.
Yeah, exactly. So it's easier for me. And I still have to do it for customers because they want to see something like that too. And you have to be able to price a job. So I still have to do it, but I hate doing it, actually.
And then as the kids kind of started to grow up, your business started to expand. What did that look like?
Yeah, I mean that was what happened. So I would start to do landscape designs, and then every once in a while I'd get a customer be like, I would, instead of doing it for a landscaper, I would do it for a like a regular homeowner. Someone knew someone, and they're like, oh, call this girl, she does landscape design, whatever. And so that same person would be like, oh, well, do you think you could price this? Like, what about with the price to plant it? And I would look at it and be like, I could totally do this in like a Saturday, make like $600 or whatever, and not worry about it. So I started pricing jobs, and I started getting jobs, and I was like, crap, I need a pickup. And so then I got some more tools and whatever. And then I started getting maintenance jobs. Like, people would, I don't even know how, like, I think I got one in Ashburnham where I work, and then I got one person I knew in Concord was like, oh, I have this person needs someone to come every week to their yard. And I'm like, yeah, I'll do that, whatever. Like, then I ended up getting so many jobs I need to hire a person, because I was like getting behind. I was getting stuck. Like, I was getting more planting jobs, and it's like, screw it, I might as well go full in. And then just like happened. It's full on.
Kind of get the bug and you start rolling again.
Yeah, and then I was like, my kids are old enough. And then, well, not unfortunately, but so I had 2 daughters, and they were like in school when it really started rolling. So I was like, this is perfect. And then I ended up having a son out of nowhere, like another by accident. And I'm like, oh shit, now I'm so busy, right? Like, so he kind of got the shaft in the mom department because I did not stop. Like, and he didn't get the shaft because he's probably my most well-adjusted kid, but I had to stay going to work, like, with him.
What are the ages like for your kids?
So the two girls are 18 and 16 now, so they're 2 years apart. So I had them like boom, boom, like being a mom, happy, doing my thing, whatever. And then my son is 10 now, so he's like a solid, 8 years younger than the oldest one. So there's a big gap between. And I wasn't really like, I was super happy to have another kid, but because I would have probably even had more kids than that. But I was not like expecting to at that point in my life.
Do you feel like it's a hard split, I guess? Like it's like pulling in 2 different directions. You've got like the family and then the business, or do you feel like they work, how'd you make it work together, I guess?
It does not work well together. I mean, I try, but I'm really busy. And like having a business, there's a lot of parts to having a business that I am okay with, but actually suck. Like all of the answering of emails, like I've just worked outside from, 7:30 to 4. And I'm tired, right? And I have a family, and I have to go to the grocery store, and I have to make dinner, and then they've got practice and all this bullshit, right? And then you still have to answer emails. Like I still have designs I have to price. And so that's the business stuff that's like the part of the business I hate.
My dad always says the only thing he doesn't like about the car business is the business.
The business, right? I'm a good business person because like I've done fine, but that's not what I want to do. I just want to go to the job and do it.
Right.
And then I want to be done at 4:30 and like be a mom and be like have my friends and not like read my customers' emails. Like I don't want to do extra after, but you have to.
Have you ever brought in somebody to support you in that way?
I have tried, and it's helped at times, but it's never you.
I personally, from my experience, find it, or I shouldn't even say I find it. I've never done it. I've handled everything myself since moving into the business with my dad.
Right.
But I think I would have a very hard time trusting that things are getting done the way I expect them to be, or that numbers are right. Yeah.
They just don't. And sometimes you can be okay with certain things. Like I have tried to have people help me with the paperwork or the billing, because that's like so much extra time. And when they don't, it's not that they don't care, but they don't know what you know about
and
every
it's not theirs.
Piece of it.
It's not their baby to take care of. It's like, I'm just doing this as a favor or for some money.
Yeah, for some money. I mean, you pay them, right? But like, it's not the same. So I need to try to do that more and just be okay with that. It's not going to be perfect.
And I think a big thing too, to tie into, you're talking about answering emails and doing that type of stuff. Talk a little bit about your clientele, because I think that will shed some light on what that's like.
Yeah, my clients are like the most wonderful people in the entire world, honestly. I'm really, really lucky that I have awesome customers. I have customers I've had for like 10 years now that I do their maintenance. I mean, they have the money to really spend on their yards. So I get to do what I want a lot of the time without a lot of like oversight. You know, a lot of my customers will have things like, we're having the wedding in our yard, we're having this party, we're having this thing, and we just want everything. These are like, I'm going to call them high maintenance yards, but you know, they've spent a lot of money on their landscape. It's a lot of money to maintain these landscapes, and the people are awesome. I mean, my customers could not treat me. I don't think I have one customer that doesn't treat me so wonderfully.
Which I'm sure a lot of that has to do with the amount of time in the business and you kind of curating those customers.
Right.
Like you don't just like start up and
You
have
don't.
a dozen of those customers.
You don't. It takes a long time. And I'm like really happy with where I'm at, but you don't start like that. You know, you start like I did, one little person here, one little person here. Then you get a better person. Then you do a good job for them. And then they tell their friend who has this like amazing house. And then all of a sudden you're like in all of these amazing houses. And you're like, shit, like I landed, right? Like, I don't even know how it happens, but it happens.
And I see a lot. This is like can be applied to anything. They call it like the Pareto principle or Pareto rule. It's basically the 80-20 rule.
Right.
And it's like 80% of or 20% of your customers are like 80% of the problems, and 20% of the customers are 80% of the money.
Right.
So you've got like the higher end people that are like, man, this guy is just, he lets me do whatever I want. He's just like carte blanche. He always pays. He pays early. Right. And then you've got somebody that's like, I got to do this cleanup every year. And it's always, I get there and then it's this and then it's that and then it's this.
Yeah. And you're like my lowest probably price job.
Right, exactly. You're making that. You're like you
problems for me.
You look at the end of the day, and you're like, I broke even.
Yeah, I honestly, and I'm not saying this to sound like all whatever, but I never even care about the money part. Like it just comes. Like I make good money, but like I don't even care. Like I'll do a job. And for someone, and I know they don't have the money, and I'm like, whatever, like $300 or whatever. Like, this old guy called me yesterday, and he sounded like the sweetest guy. He's like some guy in Lemon Tree. He's like, I want you to take out these bushes, and I'm going to fall for it because I can't help it, right? So it doesn't always have to be like the best, expensivest job. Like, I have to go do that job.
So
and probably gonna lose money on it, but like whatever. It
happens, yeah.
Who else is gonna take out this guy's bushes?
Something that you said to me that made me be like, all right, this I got to talk to you about. It is you made a comment, something to the effect of basically doing a good job for your clientele, your customer, or whatever. It becomes an addiction,
right?
So what is that like?
I think that's the only reason I'm in business is because I just do it for like it's not, what the hell is even the word? Like, that's my only goal is to make everybody like super happy with what I've done in their yard or for their wedding or whatever. Like a wedding flowers especially, it's such a big day and you're like a part of it. And like, I like live off of that feeling when they are like, oh my God, I've never seen anything this beautiful. It's like, okay, I just lost money on your job because I priced it wrong. But like, I made your best day even better. So like, that's all I care about, honestly.
It's like a drug, like revealing back the product that either you designed or you came up with, and you're like, here it is, and then they see it for the first time, and it's like, wow.
And landscaping and flower design has a lot of that, like instant gratification, where the person is just very happy. Like most of the time, you're working with people and making them happy about something. They've chosen to do this, and then when you're done, it's like something really beautiful that they wanted. So it's win-win for everyone.
And that's how I think you really build the best business, especially a small local business, which is kind of what I'm focused on.
Right.
Because you get that reputation.
Right.
It's like, you know what? She made my big day so much better.
Right.
You've got to use her.
Right. And then I do get a lot. I barely advertised. I had like 5 years I didn't have my name on my truck because I didn't care. Like I had plenty of business. People are like, I've never even heard of you. It's like, you don't need to hear about me. Like you'll hear about me when your friend tells you to use me.
Exactly.
But now I am trying to like kind of, okay, get like, legit like lettering. And I don't even need that stuff though. Like I'm busy. I don't care, but whatever.
Now, would you, like you're saying, you're kind of focused on going legit. What's the goal there?
I don't know, man, because honestly, I think it's really hard to like I have a couple like mentors in this business, and a lot of them have said to me, I did better when I was one guy and another guy. Like when I was one crew and just focused on that stuff because you make it 2 crews, 3 crews. Like I run 2 crews in the summer. I have like a maintenance and then installs, and we kind of like divide up who's going where. And it's all right, but it's the bigger you get, the more people you need, the more trucks you need, the more insurance you pay, like the more gas it costs, the more leaf blowers you need. So did you make more? So why are you doing this? Like would I make more? I think I would honestly make more if it was just me.
Right.
But
and less stress, probably.
I can't get to all the people.
Right.
So I can't do that. But so the money wise, it's like, is it even better to be bigger? I'm not sure.
Right.
I think it's more stressful because then you're not on the job and you got this kid calling you like, oh, I just backed into this fence. Like, what do you want me to do? And then you're like, well, I just lost $1,000 today. I don't care what you do. Why don't you just go back to the shop?
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, you call it a day.
Right. So I don't know what the goal is. I guess you just kind of keep evolving, see what happens.
And you also want to keep your customers happy. So
that's where I'm at right now. I need to keep everyone happy, and I don't want to say no. But I don't want to get this, bullshit crew that can't do anything and just to show up.
Just for the sake of having them.
Yeah, just to show up. So it's this hard spot.
And you're doing more like, I don't want to say specialized, but I guess kind of specialized work. Like it's not like you got like 3 crews of guys just mowing.
Right. And it's
you
not
just
like
like
that
yeah,
at
just
all.
go mow these 10 lawns.
It's not
and then,
like that at all.
Yeah. So it's really like you got to be a little bit more supervisory.
Every job is like a little bit different too. I mean, it's sort of the same, but like I guess once they get the feel for the jobs, they know better what we do. Oh, we do this here, type thing. But it's not just mowing. It's not just raking leaves. So it's tough to train.
Now going back to the family, and now that your kids are older, like, how do they view you? Because I guess you're not really like a normal mom, I guess you would say, or what you would think of when you're
Right.
like, oh, like my mom, does whatever. Like I don't know, my mom's a teacher.
Right.
Like she comes home at 3:30, or
Right.
she's retired now, but
Right.
she's done it this time.
Right. Yeah. I'm not. I mean, this is what I say to them. I'm like, listen, I did my time with you when you were babies, right? So you can't get mad at me because you want all this stuff. Like you want to go to college and, but at the same time, I don't hand them a ton of stuff either. Like I made my daughter buy her own car. She got a ship box. I had a ship box. Like whatever. All her friends, their parents buy them these like brand new cars. And I can't help it. Like I didn't even think I lived in a rich town. I don't know why this happens like nowadays, right? But so I want them to work hard. Like I make them get jobs. Both my daughters have jobs. It's like you're paying for your own gas. Like I don't know what happened in the world that kids got cars paid for and gas paid for and insurance paid for, but I'm not doing that.
Yeah, my brother and I definitely didn't.
Right.
And if there was no money for gas,
yeah,
the car sits in the driveway until you get some money.
Like I didn't. What's your work ethic, right? But you would be shocked. Like most of these kids, they pay for nothing.
Right.
And it's not like they pay for nothing and drive a ship box. They pay for nothing and drive like a nicer car than I'm driving, right?
Well, and you're probably looking at, staffing, and it's like people that are, there's people either don't have a job and don't want one, or they're working 3 jobs already.
Right. But most of my people are working 3 jobs already.
Right.
They're the people that don't want one, they don't show up. So it's like, yeah, so I want my kids to have work ethic, and I think I'm teaching them that. They do get mad at me sometimes, but I mean, I still cook dinner, but this is a 2-way street. Like you have to help me, right? This is my life. I'm your mom. They do love me. Like it's not like I'm a nice person and stuff.
Well, that's like my parents. It's like, oh, are we gonna get money for chores? It's like, no, you live here,
right?
Like this is you're a part of this household. You have a responsibility to step up to the plate and do things,
right?
Now, as far as you running your business, obviously, like there's not many female landscapers
Right.
or women that especially own, you're the owner, you're the head of the
Right.
company.
Right.
What has that been like throughout your life and now?
Yeah, I think when I was young, a young landscaper I was like fucking like you would not catch me like getting schooled by anyone, right? So like when I was coming up right out of college, it was like I will had something to prove. Like I will not let any of these guys, because I worked with all guys, like good guys, they weren't mean to me or anything. They weren't assholes to me. But I was like, I will never ask them to carry like this tree for me because I can't move it on my own. So I was like, I don't give a shit if I have to like fucking find a way to make some kind of system to get this thing over there. Like I will not let a guy do something that I should be able to do if I'm doing this job, right? So it did make me like super strong, like physically actually super strong, because I think I even worked harder than them because I didn't want them to say like, well, you couldn't do that. Like, well, of course you couldn't do that. Like, and none of them were even like that to me, but I didn't want them to have the chance to be.
And if you're driven, that's like always in your head is like, I know what they're thinking.
Right. Because I'm not going to lie. Some days when I was 19 years old, being a brand new landscaper, like I would go to pick up something. And I was like, oh, Sarah, go haul this over to the truck and like put it in there. And I'd get over there and I'd be like, I can't even fucking lift this. Like, what the fuck am I going to lift this? And I'm like, well, fuck, like I have to figure it out because it's my job. And like, I would figure it out. And then by the end of the summer, I could like toss the stuff, So it's sort of like a thing, like it's got to want to be able to do stuff.
Now, have you had, would you say like more than average women working for you because of that? Or because like,
I think I have had probably like not an equal number of girls to guys, but I always give females a chance, like if they apply for a job, and some of them have been really great, and some of them do have limitations to the job, and it's just mechanics, body mechanics.
Men, yeah. Typically, obviously, there's a spectrum for both men and women, but like typically, men are stronger, bigger. They've got more dense bone, more bone density, things like that.
Right. So taller, like you name it.
Right.
So there can be limitations, and I don't expect every girl to feel like I felt. Like, no, I'm going to be able to. I'm going to do this till I can do it. But a lot of them are like, I can't do this job.
What would you say to a girl, just in general, young girls that are going into the workforce? Obviously in the trades, I think there's fewer. But in general, like, what do you think the differences are between men and women, and where does that put the women coming in?
Honestly, like trades like plumbing and electrician, like those are not, there is not any reason that a female can't do that stuff. Like I'm just thinking of physicality wise, like there's not heavy wire. I mean, maybe like big cable wire is heavy, maybe, right? But I don't see like where a female should have to feel limited, but I also don't think they should get special exceptions made. I'm just not for that, right? Like if you can't do the job, then you can't do the job.
And from a business owner's perspective, it's like that is kind of where you draw the line, is like the job needs to get done in an appropriate amount of time too.
Right, exactly. So if someone is taking double the amount of time because they can't carry the amount of stuff or whatever, if it's like at first and then they get better and better and then they're trying, like that's okay. But like there has to be a point where you're like, this isn't for you.
Well, in your body mechanics, when you're doing something that you're not used to doing, no matter what it is, like, I mean, I have a very physical job. I work out 5 days a week. And the other day I was moving wheelbarrows of cement and I was like, whoa, like not, my body's not used to this. But if I started doing that and I got like a week or two under my belt of like, all right, I'm doing this every day, you build up to it.
That's what I tell all my new people. I'm like, it takes like 2 weeks. First week, you're going to be dead at night. You're going to be like, I can't do this job. Then the second week, like all of a sudden, you're going to get used to it. By the third week, like you're going to go home and like have a life again.
Right.
You're not going to feel like you're gassed from Or if you are, then you should probably quit because it's not for you.
And, actually kind of speaking of that, I know you have an active job, but you also are very active outside of that as far as going to the gym and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I guess, like, how does that tie in for your life in general?
I mean, I have to go to the gym because I'm like mentally not right. Like, if I don't work out, and even if I work physically outside, which I do, I need that to like just clear my head, not have anxieties. Like, I'll stop thinking about work. I'll stop thinking about like kids' problems or life problems, relationship problems, whatever. Like, I need that. But I'm the same way at the gym. I am like, I'm going to lift the heaviest fucking thing today or whatever, and so that's what, like, just how I am.
Because I see a lot of people, that I like my dad's age more so, who I think were not as, the gym wasn't as much of a thing in general, but it's like, well,
too, yeah.
I work, I'm at the gym all day. And it's like,
Right.
yeah, as long as you only
not,
work out
though.
that much.
Right. How could there be so many fat landscapers then? And I sometimes ask myself that, right? I'm like, these guys are working hard all day, right? Like, how? How is this? It's not enough. Being a mechanic, you're on your feet, you're walking, you're doing this, you're in an engine, you're working.
Right.
But it's not going to be enough to combat that.
And when I go to the gym, my personal goal is like functional fitness. So it's like, what is going to help me live my life better?
Right.
So when I go to pick something up at work, I'm not worried that I'm going to like tweak something because it's lighter than what I'm used to doing at the gym.
Right. My goal at the gym is like have the best body that I can have. No functional fitness. I do that all day. I'm like, I'm gonna look good in the bathing suit this summer.
I mean, I want to look good in a bathing suit too. I'm working on it,
But maybe I can pull an extra whatever. Who knows?
Other than the gym, what else do you do for you? Outside we kind of talked about work.
I go to the grocery store. That is what I do for me. I go to the grocery store 3-4 times a week with these bastards that I have to keep fed. And with COVID, it's even worse because they're home all the time, home at school, home for breakfast, home for lunch, home for dinner. It's like, that's my social life. It's Hannaford. It's awesome.
You meet a lot of cool people at Hannaford?
Yeah, a lot of nice people there. No, I chill. I try to go out and do stuff, but I'm busy.
Right,
it's like
grocery
store, gym, work, one night a week, go out. Maybe a Sunday fun day thrown in the mix.
And if you work like that too, it's like a lot of times when you get that night to yourself, it's like, you know what? I want to just shut my phone off and do nothing and watch a movie or something like that.
Yeah, that never happens for me, but I would like that. Because I'm never alone, right? So it's like, whatever. But I would like that.
Now, you mentioned you're involved with the Ashburnham Historical Society.
I mean, I'm not really involved in it. I'm on the commission, and we have to make certain decisions about different things, but that's only because I care about old stuff.
What kind of old stuff?
Like, I do care about towns. Like, if you tear down all the old stuff to make new stuff, then, town's going to look like shit because nobody puts the kind of money in that they used to put into buildings and whatever. So just like landscaping, I cared about that, and they wanted someone like younger. And
so what's going on in the town of Ashburnham?
I mean, nothing really goes on in Ashburnham, so that's why it's kind of a bullshit job. But every once in a while, the problem with the Ashburnham Historical Commission is that we don't have any say really, but we can put our opinion.
Oh, okay, yeah. So it's like I'm gonna listen to what you say,
like,
but
so if
we're not gonna do it.
comes in and he wants to tear down the grocery store and make it like really ugly, it's already kind of ugly, but we could say like, we would suggest you pitch the roof like this or put the soffits like this so it looks like old New England.
Right.
And I like that. Like, I don't think people should be allowed to do whatever they want.
Right, yeah.
Because they do the cheap way and then they do the ugly way.
And it's hard when you have old buildings, and I personally, I think a lot of the architecture around here, the older architecture is like beautiful.
It really is. And then I look at stuff like Fitchburg City Hall, and I'm like, okay, I can see why everyone got pissed about that because it was like $20 billion or whatever. But then do you just throw that building away and let it turn into nothing? Like, I don't know. I wouldn't. But if if all your schools are falling apart, maybe do you? Maybe. Like, so I don't know. It's tough, right? But I would like to see all that stuff saved. But
Well, something I'm interested with this, and I've talked to some other guests about, is like what is happening in these towns and where are they going? And obviously, real estate and construction is a big part of that because people are moving out of Boston.
Right.
People are moving this way.
Right, for sure.
So you're seeing,
especially with COVID, where everyone learned that they could work from home and never have to drive.
Right.
It's like, why don't we buy this farm with 20 acres in Ashburnham for $600,000, sell our little raised ranch in Andover for $800,000? You know what I mean? It's like, why not move out here?
Right. And then the question is, do these people want to, and are they going to be allowed to? Well, let's knock down this barn, build a McMansion and subdivide and sell 5 other houses off the lot, or are you going to keep it a farm, which it always was, and take care of the property?
Well, I mean, it happens everywhere. It's just like the sprawl, and it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen here too. I mean, you can't only stop people from so much, right?
Right. And I spoke with someone else on here, Nick Pelletier, who's very involved, Pelletier Properties, with both real estate sales and development. And he stressed, like, we need more residential, housing. We need to house people, basically.
Right.
And it doesn't feel that way necessarily, because it's like, more condos.
Right.
But I mean, I trust Nick's opinion very much, and it's hard to see, like, how does that all balance out? I think, like, downtown in a lot of these places, like Leominster, Fitchburg, it's like, I'd like to see more go into there. Like, you want people to want to be downtown.
Yeah.
Like, that's supposed to be the place to be.
It should be. Fitchburg, I don't know how they're ever going to fix that. It's just too out of the way of everywhere. It's too long. There's no reason to go through there to begin with. Like, it's not a way to get between places. Like Leominster Center, even though it's a pain in the ass, is a way to get from like here to here, right?
Right,
Even
you've got to go
do
through
the little
it to get
cut-throughs and you try to get around it, but you can't. And it's short, so it's like, oh, we got this little side, we got this stuff, we got this. Fitchburg's so long. I just think they should knock it down and make it a park and put the center somewhere else. Like, I just don't see that's ever going to get revived like it used to be.
Well, and it would be nice to have a place where, like, we'll say like Leominster.
Right.
It's like, okay, well, let's go out to dinner. And then you walk outside and it's like, let's walk down this way. Let's go in the shop.
That
or
would
like,
be
let's
nice.
get drinks down here and stuff like that, and bring more people in downtown.
I would like that, but we'll see, man. Maybe.
So, I mean, hopefully.
I've been waiting a long time for Fitchburg to be better.
Somebody's got to step up to the plate. Nick's very involved.
To be better and
yeah, he's doing a development. I think 7 townhouses downtown Fitchburg.
Right.
2 restaurants are coming in. So
maybe
it takes a couple big players to come in and make it worth it for the other people to kind of hop on the bandwagon.
Well, like all these restrictions on that stuff, we could go on forever on this stuff, but this has nothing to do with my life. But like Unitil, big problem. Bringing the entire building up to code, huge problem. Like all the restrictions they put on potential buyers in order to renovate these buildings. Now the price of lumber, a ridiculous problem. So any intentions anyone had of doing good gets squashed by all these fucking things that they make people do. Like, oh, you have to bring this entire building up to code. You have to put sprinklers in this building. You have to have a plug you want to do the electrical? Then you have to have a plug every 3 feet in the entire space. And then, oh, by the way, your electrical is double everywhere else because it's Fitchburg. So nobody wants to have a business here because be $2,000 a month to pay for your lights and shit. Like,
whereas you'd like to see the towns like encouraging businesses to come in and bring, more jobs, more
it's even
things
the
for people to do.
Same for a landscape business, like the insurance and the health insurance and the liability insurance and all this fucking shit. It's like, can I make? I need to make $50,000 before I make a dime for myself, before I pay all these people, like, for all this crap.
That's what I have
Great.
I have a good buddy that I help out sometimes landscaping, and he's got other guys that work for him at times, and they'll say like, "Oh, like how much did you make today?" And he's like, "Nothing.
Right.
I paid you.
Right.
Like that was, and I needed you to get the job done because
Right.
this is a 2 or 3 guy job."
Yeah.
And I think when you're a business owner, people don't realize it's like looking from the outside. If you're just the average person, you're looking at a business owner like, "Oh, must be nice."
Right.
And it's like you have no idea
Right.
what it's like, the amount of
agree
money
with
people
that.
spend,
Right.
the sacrifices that you have to make.
Right. Yeah, people don't know. And landscaping, that's a big problem. Like when you get someone real good, they look at the money that you're charging and they're like, I could make that. I could make that today. So why am I working for her when I could make that? Like I'm not even making half of that to be here, right? And it's like, yeah, but you don't have to buy the truck, you don't have to buy the excavator, you don't have to pay the insurance, you don't have the notes on everything, you don't have the gas, you don't have to deal with when you don't show up tomorrow, and then what are we gonna do? Or I lose all the money that day, like, so yeah, can they make more money? They can, but it's not the amount of money they think that's
Right. It always looks better from the outside.
It's great if they're doing it for cash on the side. That's the way to fly, man.
Then you start paying taxes, you're paying your
Yeah,
bills, you're paying
You
insurance.
pay all that stuff, you're like lucky. I mean, there are ways you get little perks here and there, but
Just like any business. I mean,
Right.
I love cars. So it's like I'm working in the automotive business and I get perks for myself
right.
that probably someone else would look at and like, that's not a perk. But
Right.
it is to me.
To you, it's good. So that works, right? But yeah, I mean, it's a lot to have a business and it's a lot to renovate all these businesses and all that stuff. It's like, it's too much money. And we're fucked, man. I think it's only gonna be worse. Like, life is way too much money. People can't live like normal. They can't like afford a house, cars, kids. Like, it's too expensive.
So what, I guess for you, well, I guess one question I want to ask is like, what does a perfect day look like for you going through like start to finish?
I mean, I like to stay up late. So a perfect day for me would be not waking up early because I have to wake up early and I don't like
I was going to
it.
say you're in a bad business for waking up late.
I know. And I hate that. So a perfect day is like waking up at like 9. And then like lots of good food in the whole day. And maybe a little drinking. I mean, I guess I love my kids, so they would be in it for a little while.
Not too long, though.
And then maybe chilling at like the ocean or and eating like all day, probably.
Food's always good.
And then staying up super late and partying, and then that would actually chilling at the beach all night. That'd be a perfect day. And maybe like not answering an email, no looking at my phone. A fire, maybe a fire. Throw a fire in there.
I like that. Fire's out. Fire at the end of the day is
a fire on the beach.
It's a must for a perfect day.
So I would like that. I mean, that's a perfect day off, and that like doesn't happen that often. A perfect day at work would just be like everything goes as planned. Super happy customer, 8 hours. That's it. Nothing to do after, and not even have to clean my truck out after. That would be a perfect day at work.
Isn't it crazy how like that happy customer or unhappy customer can just swing the whole day? Like take the wind right out of your sails. You're feeling good and someone's disappointed or whatever. It didn't work out the way you wanted.
Yeah, an unhappy customer, like that ruins my day. And I've had them. It's not like I'm a perfect landscaper. Like shit goes wrong. It happens, but I will never let them stay unhappy. I don't care if I like lose $2,000 or whatever. It's my problem. Because if you have one really unhappy customer, they're going to tell everybody.
Right.
You suck. And you don't want that.
Right.
And I just wouldn't be able to live with that.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It's like you're going to go to bed knowing.
Right. And, like I disappointed someone this week. I was supposed to have something done and I just didn't have time to do it. And I was trying to think of like, what could I say? And I was supposed to go meet with them. And I'm like, oh, what the hell am I going to say? Like, I haven't even done this yet. And then I was like, I'm not going to bullshit them. So to tell them, I'm like, listen, I haven't done this. I can't meet with you today. I know I told you I was going to have it done. It's not done. Like, what to tell you.
Sometimes the truth, or not sometimes, the truth is always the way to go, even
Yeah.
if it hurts.
Because
Like
I
those
was trying to think
difficult
of a bullshit
conversations.
lie I couldn't come up with, like why I couldn't meet, and like fuck it, I'm just gonna tell them I didn't do it, and then they were happier. They're like, okay, like
Because they know
meet
you're
with
being
us next
honest,
week.
and now they're gonna trust what you say next. Whatever,
Right.
if they know that they're getting the truth from you,
Right.
You know, it makes things a lot easier.
I learned that because as a younger landscaper, I would have made up a bullshit excuse and just tried to like lie. You know, why didn't I do the shit I said I was gonna do? And now, just be honest. People love honesty, and it's like they understand. Everyone's understanding. You go to life, you know. So that's my motto, I guess, or whatever.
With all this stuff that you have going on constantly, like go, 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 go.
Yeah.
What is the driving force? What drives you? What makes you be like that? Because that doesn't just happen.
I don't know, man, because it's not really the money, because I do make good money, but I think like I could make more if I did something different. You know what I mean? Like I know I could make more if I put the amount of hours. Like some of my friends make bank like doing like bullshit half-ass like desk jobs, and I'm like, oh man, like, so that's not the drive. So maybe just like I like it. Like I like being busy. I like being pressured. I need to be pressured. Because I don't thrive in the winter when I'm off. Like without being pressured, I am not my best self.
I'm the same way. I need like a gun to my head.
Right.
Working.
Right.
Got to get it done. There's a deadline.
Exactly.
On to the next job. On to the next job.
Right. And I'm not a good person when I'm not like that. I mean, I'm good like human, but I'm not like I don't feel good. I feel lazy.
I find that when I take a couple of days off, it's like I can see how people are super lazy because like once you get sucked into it a little bit, it's just like blah.
Right. Yeah. But I feel guilt when I'm not doing enough things. Like I feel guilty about taking a day. Like I would never, ever take a day and like lay on the couch and watch TV. That would never happen with me. And not because I think it's bad people do that. I would never do that. Like it's never even occurred to me that's something you could do. I wouldn't like it.
I'm in the same exact boat. No, I don't. I usually will do like Sundays off for myself just because like my body needs it so I can hit it hard Monday.
Right.
Otherwise, I need something like that. But I got to be doing something constantly.
Right.
And a lot of times that Sunday where I'm doing nothing, I'm doing something.
You do something.
Yeah.
Right. It's like whatever. That's just your nature. That's like people's nature though. You can't change it. So I guess that's the drive. I don't know.
If someone was starting a business now or like, a similar path to you, landscaping, and wanted to go, what would be your advice for someone like that?
Stick to the things that you like doing because there's a lot of facets to a landscaper or any type of job. There's like a lot of niches that you can put yourself in. So first of all, you want to make sure 80% of your time is like stuff you enjoy, because if it's not, you still have to do it. So then you're going to be doing stuff that you hate, right? So that's what I try to do is like make sure the jobs are like mostly the kind of thing that I like. That's why I don't mow lawns. That's why I don't plow snow. That's why I don't do bullshit stuff that I don't want to do because wouldn't enjoy it, right? I'd probably make good money doing it, but like I don't want to. So that I would say try to find like what you really like to do and be good at it. Do what you say you're gonna do for the most part, and then don't lie if you don't do what you say you're gonna do. And then when there's always gonna be parts of a business that you don't like because you can't avoid that. I would say try to find people to employ people to do those parts. I'm bad at listening to that advice, but I wish I could be good. I wish I could find the people that could do my billing, my estimates, like stuff like that, so I could have more of like a normal life.
So do what you love and hire people to do what you hate.
Right. I would rather be digging holes. People, wouldn't you rather be looking at jobs, going in the office? No, I hate that shit. I'd rather be just doing the job. But I have to do all of those jobs right now, so fuck it. Whatever. But that's that. So that's my advice. Do the parts you like the most and hire people to do the other parts, and hopefully they'll do a good job.
Cool. I mean, I think that's a great place to leave it.
Okay.
Thanks for coming
Sounds
down.
good to
You
me.
were great. I love talking to you.
All right, good.
So,
Thank you
and
for
maybe we
having
can
me.
do this again sometime.
Sounds good.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you for tuning in with us. We do this to share the stories of some of the incredible individuals in your community. All we ask in return is if you found value from this episode, please share it with someone else who may also gain value from the show. Please feel free to rate or review the show. Your feedback helps us give you more of what you want. Until next time, I'm Tim Lanza, and this was another Local Legacy.